Hi, this is Josephine, and this is Let's Clear the Air. We're here today with the Rainbow Pride Youth Alliance. This is Gus and Jess, and we're here to talk about Rainbow Pride Youth Alliance's SOURCE program, and also our collaboration for our Students for Social Justice program. I'm going to hand this over to you. I guess I should have asked.
Yeah, for sure. I can talk about the SOURCE program and stuff. Please. Yeah, so I think a little about RPYA. We're an LGBTQ nonprofit based out of San Bernardino, and our primary mission is to provide support groups, cultural competency, and education to improve the lives of LGBTQ plus folks in the IE.
We also dabble in LGBTQ plus advocacy, and also I'm forgetting something. Referral services, because pretty much in the Inland Empire, especially in Riverside County and San Bernardino County, there are hardly any LGBTQ plus services aimed toward youth. So we're trying to fill in a gap. So our organization is kind of a smorgasbord of everything. So just ask us. We might be doing something.
Yeah, or we know someone doing something really cool, and we'll connect you.
So I guess, what is SOURCE? What does it stand for? How did it come to be? And what do you all do?
Well, SOURCE is not doesn't stand for an acronym, and actually, I'm judging you really harshly and stuff. No, there's no acronym. SOURCE is just basically the psychoeducational support group that we run, and Jess is the lead educator. I am kind of the mental health first aid / talk with the kids about how they're going, just making sure they're okay. But basically, it's a psychoeducational support group for LGBTQ youth between the ages of 12 and 18 in Riverside. Yeah.
So a typical SOURCE day that you kind of see, we do a lot. We serve specifically LGBTQ plus youth, but the way how we serve the youth is they literally attend a support group. So when you think of support groups, you think of introductions, check-in, everyone circles up and goes over how's your week, have a fun question. Everyone has a space to kind of say their own piece, and they know they could say whatever they want, kind of like Vegas rules. You feel safe to say what you need to say. And then every single week, all the youth have some sort of workshop. The workshop can span from everything such as LGBTQ plus history, leadership development, mental health, coping mechanisms, or it can literally be an art day. I think one time we had the kids just make bath bombs, because why not? Bath bombs are fun, and I guess that can count as mental health in some weird way. Well, it does technically, right? Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Something about smelling and everything like that. That's mental health. Aromatherapy is more.
Yeah. Just building off what Jess said earlier, there's not a lot of spaces for LGBTQ youth to feel emotionally and in terms of their identity supported. So we with SOURCE tried to basically teach them resilience skills, as well as kind of affirm their identity, and kind of ask questions and have spaces for people to ask questions. And we try our best to kind of give them the as much educational and psychoeducational support we can. And if it gets to the case where they need more services, we refer out to culturally affirming resources.
But yeah, so currently the sites that we have for the SOURCE program, our longest one is in downtown Riverside, right across from the Mission Inn, that really large, kind of gaudy looking hotel. It's a landmark, but the history is so sketch. Anyway, but going beyond that, so our longest one is in Riverside, downtown. It's every single Thursday from 3 to 5. RPYA is also currently working on expanding the SOURCE program out to San Bernardino, specifically toward the northern part of San Bernardino. And also we just received a grant from Kaiser to open up a group in Paris. So we hope to start that one at the library sometime before the school year ends. We're still waiting on that, but definitely a second group's coming along in that case. And each group is going to be different depending on which population we're aiming to serve. So I know for the Paris one, we're really going to make it more LGBTQ plus intersectional.
Yeah. Again, because I think we want to make sure that we're paying attention to specific population needs and wants, and what they haven't had access to in the past. So we try to make like each support group that we have or like any collaboration we have very like community focused and basically making sure it's just like not us dictating what's going to happen at the group.
Okay, 2 more questions, and then let's switch over to Students for Social Justice. So I guess, and if there's anything else you all wanted to add about Source, what is your biggest success with Source, and what is your, I guess, greatest challenge with Source?
So I would kind of say like our greatest strength for Source is literally creating a space that children feel like, well, not the children, but like the youth that we work with feel like they have power within. They feel empowered to say like how they want to construct the space. They feel empowered to make the space themselves, to recommend how to make it better. And because of what we've been able to do, we've been able to increase the enrollment of how many students or how many youth come to our group. I believe like about a year or 2 ago, the youth group only had like, I think like 3 to 4 people coming on a weekly basis. Now we get up to like 12 youth every single week, because to run a successful youth group, it can't just literally be like adults telling youth like, this is what you have to learn. Like that's not an empowering space. You're not giving equal power and or authority of the space to everyone. In that case, you're just kind of replicating some of the worst teacher-student models that you can find in schools.
Yeah, I think we've learned not to like take up space, and like also just understand like what the kids kind of want and what they want to, because kids want to have input in terms of what space they have. Just they might be shy or they don't feel like they can trust people with their wishes and kind of their vision. So
and that's especially important too with LGBTQ plus youth. That's fine. With LGBTQ plus youth especially as well, because like, I mean, if you're an LGBTQ plus youth, if you are a person of color, if you live in an unsafe home, how are you going to trust adults who have completely failed you like all the time? Like if you look at the statistics from like Human Rights Campaign, especially they actually came out with research from a survey that they did with LGBTQ plus Californian youth. It shows that a lot of Californian youth do not feel safe within homes. It shows that a lot do not feel safe within their schools. So how do you expect that youth are going to feel safe within a random youth group that meets up once a week for 2 hours? So I think it's a really nice strength that we actually have kids who trust us because of the structure that we've given in that program, because we choose to listen to their voices and give them more authority.
I think probably our biggest challenge is like safety, just making sure like kids, like speaking on that, like they feel safe to kind of come and share. A lot of kids that we come out with, some are out, others aren't. And it's always kind of important to kind of like find like the middle ground in which like you're supporting folks that are out and are able to express themselves, but making sure you're not exposing people who like if they find out, their parents might freak out, their school might freak out, and they might be at like a safety risk. So it's always kind of like making sure we're protecting the youth at all costs.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing about RPYA and your Source program and how you've learned so much through, I guess, like the duration of Source and all of your awesome work here with LGBTQ plus youth in the giant region of the Inland Empire. So I wanted to transition and talk a little bit about how we are now collaborating for our Students for Social Justice program. Woo! If you're listening to this, we have jazz hands. Jazz hands.
You're probably listening to this like through the Facebook or like YouTube, so you can just see her like arms and legs just doing weird things.
So, Students for Social Justice, our first session will be next Tuesday, February 26th here at the CCAJ office from 3 to 5 p.m., right? And I'm really excited about this because I think we've basically used what you all have learned with your source model and your experience, and really letting youth and students lead the program that they want to be, along with kind of like our experience here at CCAJ with working with youth who want to get more involved in the like social justice organizing sphere in the IE, because we have so many things that could be worked upon, right? I feel like I should have a question right now, but I'm just really excited. Do you all have anything else to add so far?
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you think are kind of like our strengths going in, or what are things that we need to work on for like this S4SJ like going in?
So I think our strength lies. I think our strength lies a lot in the fact that we have all had extensive experience working with youth and youth groups and youth programs in different capacities, right? I think what you all were talking about earlier was really pointed in saying like student teacher models where it's just like do this, like that's not fun, and like no one's gonna learn from that. So I think like that's like a huge strength that we have, like knowing that there's a lot that we could cover, but also letting folks dictate what they want to see. And I know with my experience with some of the programs we've done here and organizing elsewhere is also just like just being there as like a form of support. And also just kind of like a bank of knowledge. It's like, here are these people you can connect with if you want to do this, and just like a resource bank. But also not being that like authoritative, like adult figure that's like, I feel like I'm like your shoe.
You're hugging my shoe. No, I think I agree. I think what we're really excited for, because I think we all acknowledge that there's a lot of like amazing opportunities like happening in the Inland Empire, and we do want to make sure that like the community has like leaders who kind of are able to kind of like address the intersectional like issues that are happening. I think I nailed that like use of intersectionality right. I really hope so.
Do you mean intersectionality or intersectional? Crenshaw wrote up intersectionality, but intersectional. Sorry, so which?
No.
I'm being facetious.
No, but I feel like that's like a. Well, I think that's something like I think we like probably will talk about with the kids and stuff, is the fact that like sometimes intersectional and intersectionality get like thrown around and used incorrectly.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like also just unpacking what intersectionality is.
Just kidding. This is actually the first session of S4SJ that you all are on, and we're going to talk about
This is turned into a 50-minute YouTube video
about Kimberly Crenshaw and intersectionality and intersections, etc.
There's a
So proud. Should be so proud from your UCLA office. Oh God.
Do you think like I'm sure she goes to the office and stuff, yeah.
I know she's like based off in UCLA, but either way, either way.
Where were we?
I think I was casting shade on professors who are like a little bit famous and stuff, but don't go to their office hours or like don't really operate in their office.
Where were we before that?
But before that, we were talking about like kind of like what we're excited about, the Students for Social Justice kind of challenges and kind of like what we're excited about.
Yeah. Do y'all have any hopes? I can share mine too, but do you have any hopes for the program? I can start by sharing mine. So we had a youth program a year ago that kind of was more focused on civic engagement and youth involvement as well as youth organizing, and I was so happy to see so many of the young students just really take leadership and take ownership of I guess all the injustices in our neighborhood, and just kind of being like, we also have a voice, even though sometimes it's not like, you know, sometimes people don't care about it, but they were just so adamant about like, this is our future, and they were like, we want to take charge of it and we want to take ownership of it, and the only thing that I wish we had done more was just creating a better or a stronger like support kind of group feel, which I'm really excited that we have like y'all's experience and expertise to kind of like bridge that too, so we can really like address, or we can try to do all of the things that was so vague.
Right,
yeah.
So like, yeah, no, I think especially like as someone who has to like write the lesson plans every single week, something I've noticed with like the group for sources specifically is like we don't have enough time and space to really like focus on the kids like learning student advocacy, learning how to organize themselves. Like I think a couple weeks ago we actually had a workshop where, and this is the Riverside group, where like the kids all learned about their student rights as LGBTQ plus students. So they learned that like they have a right to being called their chosen name and pronouns no matter like what documentation says. Like all students, teachers, faculty have to like respect that. It's literally illegal to go against that. All youth have to be able to access LGBTQ plus sexual education, everything like that. So all these youth like learned all these different rights, and at the very end I asked them, like, so what do you all think about this? And they were like, we didn't know these were our rights. And when they were asked further, like, well, do you think you have power to assert them? They said no. we didn't have space to address that within the group. So I think the really nice thing, as like, especially because CCAJ has a lot more experience with like youth organizing, youth development in terms of that capacity, I really think it's going to be like a nice, really molding relationship.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to having kids, like, based on that, like, kind of like discovering their own power and discovering that they like have agency and they're able to kind of exercise it, and adults will listen to them, and adults will kind of give them kind of tools and support them and their causes and kind of what they want to do for their in terms of vision. And I'm also kind of excited to see like how the kids work together. Yeah.
Not even just like adults will listen to them, but like literally society is also including with them as well. Like they don't have to be beholden to anybody. If you honestly think about it, they don't really have to be beholden to us. Like the main part of this whole program is like they feel empowered to do so no matter what our own opinions is or like what they want, what we want them to pursue. If a youth leaves this group like halfway through and they learn all these skills because they don't want to like focus on like, I don't know, whatever like goals that CCAJ and RPYA has, like maybe we want to focus on like some other public policy thing, but the kid wants to do something completely different, more to them, that's great. Then that's a success of the program. So
I felt like that was like a really good mic drop moment.
I'm not following that. Yeah.
I was like, I know. Jessica was just like,
drink my coffee.
mic drop. Take this. Watch me.
All on the floor.
Oh, this rug. Sorry, got distracted by the rug. I've never noticed this rug here before.
It's a good rug.
It is. You will absorb all the coffee stains from our makeup.
Is it so basically it's like there's a bunch of stains underneath the carpet?
Probably.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't think I have anything quite to add. I think we covered a lot. Sorry, this is off the reg. No, I feel like we covered a lot. Do you all want to add anything else? Or?
Just remember, like, next Tuesday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. is our first session for students for social justice, and then we'll be meeting every other Tuesday for the next like 6 months or so.
Yeah. And also, the name is up for grabs. No, just kidding. Students who come to Students for Social Justice, it is a really hard program word to say, but if you want to change it, come and be a part of the process. Or just change it. No, that was really weird. I don't like this mic. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming to join us for Let's Clear the Air. If folks want any more information on our PYA, feel free to follow them on Instagram and Facebook. Do you all have any other sources of social media?
And also feel free to reach out to us on our email if you have any questions and you don't want to like use social media because social media is iffy. If you have any questions or if you need any resources, what have you, contact us at our email. Our email is rainbowprideyouthAlliance@gmail.com. No special capitalization or anything like that, just rainbowprideyouthAlliance@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I'm sure like Anthony can put like information like below. Also, if you want to sign up for a newsletter, we have a monthly newsletter that occasionally is late, but it gives you like a lot of information about what's going on.
It's good information no matter what time you get it.
Yeah, you get it eventually.
It's a YouTube video, then somewhere in the doodly doo.
It's like, yeah, we're like, here's a newsletter link. Here's the emails.
Look down below.
Look down below for our
Whatever.
website.
Watch YouTube. I know what goes on.
Totally YouTube all the time. Awesome. Thank you so much.